Hello, 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 everyone. It is I, the Tin Man, clowning around, trying to be lively. It's 9:01. I'm 1 minute late, I think. But I thought, why not have a good time and come and chit-chat? If anybody has any questions, then that's cool. If not, I have my other phone here that I'm able to go on my YouTube account. Well, I can't go into my account, but I can go, yeah, well, never mind. Yeah, so I gotta be signed out when I'm doing this. Hello out there. You know, I'm going to do any questions and answers, so if anybody has any questions or anything like that, please let me know. And right now, I am just going to look myself up. My battery's kind of going dead on this phone, so I hope it's not bad. And then also, we have a bit of a view spot too. You know, if you end up seeing peculiar shines, try to follow the light and try to understand what our light here is really just illuminating and which direction it is. So light can be reflected and received through eyes off of a reflected value, so that's got something to say for it. And then obviously in direct sunlight, then it can be pretty cool. So there we are live. I'm just gonna say something on here. As long as my phone works. How come you're not connecting? What's going on? It's kind of silly. Is it maybe? Oh, it's allowing me to be in my account. I shouldn't be in the account. Hey guys, Tin Man. So on that video right here, you guys, the very first video, it's the one that for giving notice for doing a live tonight. I changed the title to "Hear the Truck Sound" in this video. And then I say about reminding us about the mimicry, because these guys do a lot of mimicking. They do mimicking on a visual level for us, and they do mimicking on hearing level for us, and so on and so forth. However they figure they can do, yeah. You know, that gets really, my mind lots of times wants to do more of a breakdown, but sometimes we just got to keep it that simple. But these things become fairly complex when you're trying to really chase the reasons that you think they might be like that, if you get what I'm saying. So anyways, listen to that video then. Hear the truck sound. You know, really put your ear to it and stuff. It's very odd and peculiar. Sometimes it sounds very strong right where I'm sitting. I know there's rebound capabilities. You guys are hearing the sound right now of these vehicles rebounding and stuff. But the mimicker also knows that. That's why the mimicker, if they're going to chase a sound this way, they're thinking of that advantage. They've got that wit with them in that case for sure. So I'm just going to jump around to a couple of recent videos. Should I? Yeah, I'll do the one. Okay, just the one I uploaded today, the one that's called River Dike Ocean Levels. And so on with that one. I went, there's a lot of stuff starting to compile into my subject. And so I thought I would just name that much of a, that much of a title. I don't have any questions on it or anything like that. So if anybody, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And those couple of videos, I know it's, what is that, 20 minutes basically for those two videos. Lots of times what I suggest is put it as a background sound. So you got to do some dishes or something. Put it as a background, and if it draws your interest to look, then you're finding it worthwhile to look. If not, then you're going to at least hear what I'm babbling on about. And if you start to do that, which some people do, they start to see, I don't know, I think they see that I'm not bullshitting and that what I'm saying is full truth value, and it's up to them to decipher and figure out how smart I am, how clued in I am, and then venture out. And I've had a number of successful people that have exactly done that, and now have their own study program based off of what they learned on this channel here, based on markings, based on tracking. And that word tracking means if I just put a mark right here into my car, even that, I tracked it. The RCMP or your police or whatever, they can come and do their little forensic fingerprinting, and they pick up on my track. So there we go. If I did it with my lips now, there's a different track, right? So it's huge. And those ones, yeah, sometimes I get carried on. That's why I'd like a sidekick so they can help me move along, because I don't mind moving along. Okay, so now I'm jumping into another video in the list here that's got 93 views right now, and it's a Bigfoot Land's End of feeling very welcome. So I'm walking out of the place. You guys may not always get my titles, and I get that, but I still, on this subject matter, I'm at, heading towards 2,300 videos or something like that. And I like horse around with my creativity, and I understand it, and some people get it and some people struggle with it, but that's what it's all about. There's a bit of a party going on up in this place. I don't know what's going on, but so you might hear that laugh, and it's not somebody else. Oh yeah, and a reminder for you newbies that are coming in right now, can I do a zoom on this? I think I can. Perfect. Because that area right there in the dark shadows there, holy cow, I just did a quick kind of look over that way, but has it ever really kind of lit up back there and is glistening a lot more in that? I guess it's the tree there. I'm not sure if that would be all the way back in the blackberries. I'm just not following my eyes up there, but it'd be in your whatever left or right hand side of the screen, however that comes to you. I think it might be on your right hand side, I'm not sure. Anyway, so back to this one here, which is called the Bigfoot Land's End. I was feeling very welcomed as I'm walking out. And what I do in this video is I set it up. Even people that don't have the ability to do zooming and such like that, if you just take a look into a certain area of choice, and just watch as it plays through how the color may change or not, and do your own study on shadows. Go sit out on your sun deck on a cloudy day. You can do it on a sunny day or whatever, but you gotta be really with understanding how that sun's going to be casting shadows. So that's, a couple of steps up for some people. So if they started out on a cloudy day, it's a little bit more of a, it's a little more tame light. and it's maybe a little bit easier to follow and start to understand shadows. And what you'll end up noticing is throughout the day, unless there's a lot of sun doing something, when you're looking at bushes and such like that, the shadows can stay in certain positions for a very long time, and then, unless the wind's coming or something. But they can do that for very long times and stuff. You'll start to pick up on information about them. You'll start to pick up information on, okay, now I can start to see how that one started to shift this way, and how it's maybe bigger because of this, and so on and so forth. You'll start to process information of naturalness. Now when you make it to a place where, and hopefully there's no beings in that place, because it could trip you out in a way if you right away are noticing size change. But if you're noticing size change in those shadows in drastic measures, small or large, then, you know, maybe bring your head to a different thought there. But that's part of what I'm saying. Now you say if you're at a place where you truly believe it's loaded with some kind of activity, you may be able to get hot with that. Hey Ian, cheers bro. Hey Rob, how's it going? And we got Keptis. I'm just numbed me. You just ignore me? Is that what you're saying? Maybe your thing's been up for a bit. No, you just put that message up. So I'm sorry, but I'm gonna stay focused. Bigfoot Land's End. Rob's even said something on here. He didn't catch any movement. So yeah. So anyways, find some spots up there. Go through some shadow stuff. Maybe, maybe not. You know, that's an idea. Let's shoot around here. Let's go. If anybody's got it. Oh yeah. I want to just go to this one here. That's it's just a short one. It's just what is it? 2 minutes 56 seconds. Bigfoot awareness is growing. And in that video, if you don't watch the whole thing, when I do a little bit of a span like that on the video, there's activity back there. 100% there's activity back there. And yeah, so you have that opportunity to see it. If you don't see it, then observe the landscape, because their forest really does give you a feeling of like if you were in more like a gorilla reserve than an elephant's reserve, or I don't know, whatever kind of other things. So on this one here, I talk about that chunk of wood, and I showed it before with the markings inside there. And I'm talking about it again. Once again, I think Rob and I have talked about it a bit and stuff. It's a cutting mark that cuts once, but then has a secondary cut, because it's actually in so many cases coved, or it has a rounding in it, however you want to look at it. Keep that in mind, that's a double cut. What is really happening, it doesn't mean the blade has to have a double edge on it or anything, but it is a double cut. It's just not a slice like your butter knife, because that's what most hunters and so on and people carry around, is something that will just cut in, not any special craftsman knife when they're in the bush. And we're finding that a lot. So, and other people are finding that in other areas now. So I'm going to jump to another one. And what's happening in that is we're slowly getting to see that being covered over, that, and that swellingness is part is covering the wound that they did for whatever reason. And then, yeah, so it's covering over with the, yeah, you know, that layer of bark, and they stimulate that with those little slices that I show on that video there. And then I go and I show the video, the part above the tree, and I forgot to say it, but that's basically the same as that that cat scratch post thing that they do. Just do a bunch of it's almost like you just have claws and you're doing that, and it's going to make what happens with the tree. The tree really does have a life of layer of understanding. So when that stimulation happens, the tree has an understanding to send more type of food, nourishment, healing energy, whatever it's doing, it really is doing it. And these guys got this down to a system. You cannabis people out there, you know, where they say if you have your plants that are all locked up and not even an ant can get in there or anything, just go in there and just take a project plant and just start scoring it around the base a few times. You know, maybe do it a few times the very first time. Let it get to a point where you can tell, you can tell it's kind of healing up on that now. Then do a few more. Oh, it's kind of healing up on that. A few more. And then if you start to see it bulk up in that area and stuff, it's getting bigger because it's sending a whole bunch of nutrition to that. Now further those marks up. Bring them up to right at the bend of your branch like that. Just at the bend of it. And the nutrition will grab into that branch more than it might shoot all of it up there. But that signal will go down to the heart and soul, I believe, is right at that seed level of earth. You know, halfway in the earth, a little bit out of the earth is where that's, you know, that the main priority of the life of the plants are. And so, yeah, you can kind of think you're playing, you know, you're stimulating, you're not being mean. Well, depends how you look at it. Some people might not agree that if you cut a plant that you'd be being mean to it, so I can't really pull that off. Jump on. Okay, so on that one there, I say you jump on in with little preparation can make. Okay, that's that. I'm going to come and see what you guys have to say. I go into the... Oh yeah, can I come in on the live? Yes, I can come in on the live now. It's accepting me. There we go. Nick Gers told me about this live stream. Oh, cool. Right on, Nav. And then we got Ding or Big Dong. Okay, you ever seen... I'm not sure what one of those would be, a Nelf or whatever, but I think a lot of people probably are going to be finding out a lot of those things are actually what I'm talking about as these beings being such mimickers and stuff. They mimic so many different looks. The part of the Bigfoot family and friends is how I always called it, because, you know, we won't have the answer until we fully have the answer. But yeah, and I'm encouraging people to also look in that black corner on my screen here. Maybe I should try opening my door, because it might give you guys a little bit more of a range to look at and stuff. Because I would not be surprised that, you know, for sure I'd say they're around here right now. My numbers are ridiculously high. It's hard. It's weird for me to even talk about how, on what level I understand these beings at, because of my experiences is why I'm able to do that. But, you know, I feel I don't want to, in some ways, I don't want like, it's a drag when people come on my channel and they leave a comment like I'm an idiot or something like that. Instead of just giving it more time or looking at more videos and and I understand why they do that. Like, I really do realize that. But how the amount of stuff that I say, like they're breaking rocks, like they're damaging bridges and stuff like that, I know that will turn a lot of people away. But if they went into my 2-year program and just started breaking down and seeing where, holy cow, 2 years ago he was talking about that, he was talking so surprised about finding where they were drilling into cliff sites, where I could tell somehow they're drilling into a cliff, and it's like, how are they drilling into a cliff? you know, and going to looking on the ground for tools that they could be using for this, and then it coming down, and within time, whatever that one in particular was, where I started, yeah, it's got to be their claw that they're using to be able to do that. So, and it's really where I'm at with all this different cracking and fracking that they do on concrete and rocks and such. Sorry, I got something bothering my eye, but I really feel that it is, yeah, it's the ability within them. It's something that is possessed within them to be able to be doing all this breaking. Just like we're surprised by strength on different levels. And I bet you there's lots of people that are surprised on sizes and stuff. Like figure out, oh man, for sure I know one was around here, but it's really weird because it was like the other thing that was with it was super tiny. And that is truth. That is real. And my concern is, because I see the tinies' ability of work. I see what they do out here, the tinies. And it's bigger amounts than the bigs. So, I figure maybe a large amount of bigs feel comfortable further away from the human populations. The inner, where you have to be around, so they do whatever kind of natural traits of works that they're doing out there, which I have the list. I could be saying them, but I'm just saying whatever. Because there's all kinds. You think about earth products. They do with just our earth products. They do stuff. So what I was trying to get at there was in around, like I'm not in a big city. In my little, what we call city town is, I don't know, I think maybe I don't think we're over 100,000. I have not even looked really, but 60,000 people, maybe 100,000. You can hear, this is actually a highway out here. It's a 2-lane. It's the one that takes you more rural. If you're going that way, then you're going into Vancouver. And that's about, let's just say, an hour's drive, and you're in thick area of the Vancouver rural areas. So there's lots that goes on here. And there's lots of people. And so I've gotten to do lots of studying around people. And the little guys have to do big city work. And if you actually went and started just examining trees within the cities, if your city isn't infected by it, then I would be super surprised. So keep looking around the neighborhoods until you start to come to trees where you think, boy, is this tree sure is cut up a lot. Who's been cutting up this tree? And then you go to the next one. And then sometimes you might be able to start to understand a shape within that cut on the tree, or styles. You might start seeing them higher in the tree. You're going to start to understand, okay, the bummer, whoever was cutting up this tree when he's tripping out on his drugs, somehow did one cut, 12 feet higher or something like that. You'll start to formulate your own understanding. I'm the guy who's telling you to go out there and do that. I'm the guy who's saying, I've been doing it for 2 years. And if Rob is still on here, Toy Guy, he's doing it. He's one of the people who's going out there now. He still questions so much, and that's all cool. Or else maybe he would get too bored and walk away. Unless he started just saying answer after answer to me. Hey, Ian, this. Hey, Tin Man, this. Hey, this. Then he's just a master and he's going to start his own show. But if he's not, then it's cool that he's questioning it. And it's cool that he's making me say legitimate stuff. He's going out there and saying, hey, those words that he said sound very legitimate to how I'm looking at this now. Wow, another point for him. And that's what's going on. And he's one of many. And that thing is the weirdest thing. It just keeps bopping on and turning off. I'm going to see if I can turn it off for now. live super chat mode, not hide all chat messages. Okay, there we go. So where do I want to be with this now then? That's right, that's good at that point. I'm going to now bring up another video from my channel that will help. Like, let's go to this one. Another weird one out there. If you guys want to look at what I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to do this. Hang on here. I'm going to go over to playlists. I'm going to push. There we go. Oops. 100%. It's got 100% Bigfoot videos on it written there. I think you get, I'll show you in a second. And then we're going to push. A video says first face-to-face Bigfoot family 100% or your money back. It's a video 2 minutes and 39 seconds long. You guys can see this somewhat. So I'm going to jump forward to 2 minutes, or I mean 1 minute and 40 seconds. So if you jumped forward to 1 minute and 40 seconds, let me see which way I can see this well. And you're looking right in there. You see that guy? See him right there? See the other ones around? Just look at this guy the most. And he's sitting with other ones. It's a pile of Bigfoot. This is 13 days into a 21-day exposure of me with them. So on 13th day, this was a mistake. They did not call this. I figured that they thought I was going to take a left. And I picked up on something, and I decided not to take a left. And I went right and straight across, just right and up feet. These guys were in and amongst there. And so the main guy that I end up seeing here, you get to see his eyes, you get to see his nose. There's a stick somewhere in the view there that blocks us so we don't get to see his mouth. He's sitting on probably Papa's lap. And then it looks like there might even be another head way down where his lap would be or something. So there's really a pile, and then there's really one over here, and then there's really a couple around and stuff. So that day 13 of a 21-day adventure has now brought me to this, I don't know, 700 and something day adventure so far that I'm still on. And growing, and yeah, I'm just really trying to share it with the world, tell people how important it is. So I wanted to jump, see, because part of the importance that people aren't really getting yet is probably population. And that's part of why I tell you to go look at these different things that I'm proclaiming that they're damaging. So you'll go out there and just actually look for yourself, and then the number hits you yourself. Okay, you don't have to see billions to know that there's going to be billions or trillions. You don't have to believe me. You just go start doing your own little bit of evidence, and anybody who believes that they have pretty good wit, and they really can listen to me, and they really can study and stuff like that, you follow a number of my steps. Like, this is a telephone pole, but this is a concrete telephone pole. And what do they like to do? They like to break concrete, but they also like to crack wood. So go look at your wood telephone poles, hydro poles, whatever you want to call them, and you will see that they're getting these cracks going up them and stuff like that. You'll see where there's less cracks around the high voltage power. You'll learn from that is they got a respect for electricity. So here's one of the concrete ones that we got into big a number of years back there, maybe 20 years back. I remember it going on. And then they stopped. As a younger guy, I kind of thought to myself, I wonder if it's because when people would crash into them, they would die too easy or something. Less skiff. Anyway, so I got a chance to come and look at this pole that happens to be laying here on the ground, because you don't see them around very often. He's just using it as a barricade, and it shows many signs of our friends. Why do I care about that? Let's say. Well, you guys probably, I don't know how much you can see it in here. Doop. Train bridge. Zoomed back. Ooh, water. Anyways, foundation, concrete. This isn't the good video of where I jump down and I'm showing you the actual concrete damage going on. Well, that was that. But it's there. And I describe it in length in some of the videos. I wanted to, oh, there we go. And this is really where it's been going, like, and it's coming. This is our big highway bridge. And those are big piers of foundation that they're on. And these guys are in this video. I get into quite good detail. And I'm really, truly showing a whole bunch of cracks and stuff. When I show that train bridge, and you see the size of the cracks on that one, people in this country that see that should just be kind of in an upset mode, knowing that our train bridge has that large of cracks on it. And somehow we're supposed to just believe that the train is not going to somehow collapse that bridge. City parks. So let's see if this, well, this one shows here. Any of us people are out here doing a fair amount of work. Yeah, that's right. I think I just set up the camera on this one. Yes. Anybody who's out there doing a fair amount of work knows this look now. This is a city, well-established city park that at the beginning of this year did not have 3 or 4 large primary trees that are laying down there now. They think because we had a couple of days of ice, that's a good enough blame. Then they forget about it and life goes forward, obviously. I just went by the whim on this. So I'm going to turn off my chat, see if anybody's asking questions, or turn it on. So please do. Oh, right on. Burn. Okay, we're seeing, I don't know if you guys would be able to get a good look out back that way or not, but I'll do it like this. You ever seen, okay, Bernie told me about this. Oh, okay, Bernie. Do you know Burger Planet? No, I don't. An Alaskan hunter told me everyone up there knows Bigfoot is real. Okay. And eventually they, evidently, sorry. Evidently they are interdimensional. But it's because I'm kind of thinking of my response to that. I get nothing with that interdimensional stuff. And watching my first face-to-face video, if you watched the earlier part of this, I kind of talked about it a little bit there and kind of point some stuff out. It might come up on the camera there even, I'm not sure. But they didn't disappear or anything like that. They backed out from me. You can see it on the video. They leave the screen. They don't fade. They actually shift. I kind of actually start saying in the video, saying my okay, thanks, and all that kind of stuff, even as that part doesn't shine through to the camera so much, because you get to see this darkness, and then say if it, yeah, it's like that. So there's a certain shine of bush behind, but there's the darkness in front. So they shift out like that, and that's how that light becomes bright again. So by kind of checking out that one out, you'll see some stuff going on there if you like. So why do you have baby hands? Is it really? My hand's not that small. Santa Claus, a Bigfoot believer? I don't know if Santa Claus is. There's Rob saying, yeah, trying to stay awake. Long day. Oh, yeah, hey, Rob. Cool, man. Thanks for staying up. Really high rambling skills. Oh, you're one of those. Okay. Supposedly, whole Alaskan villages have moved in the recent past to escape Bigfoot attacks. Wow, eh? Thumbs up, people. Thank you, puppy. Always a good person to come around. CX. Yash is saying CX. Maybe that means sexy. Yeah, because sax and then the C at the front, you know, sexy. Anyways, nice beard. Thank you. Super something fan. Big is saying, I seen okay, you've seen some stuff scared the shit out of me. Oh yeah. Monkas. Does he have a big nose? No. You will enjoy looking at that. Thank you for asking. His nose is not very big. It's very proportionate for that head. You get to make out the head well. Maybe you lose it a little here, I'm going to say, because that stick is like this, and light is actually shining off of it somewhat. So it's kind of, you know, it's helpful to show you the spot, I believe, when I show people that. I think people have appreciated that. I always point that out. Okay. I'm sorry about my finger going in there. I seen. Okay. Where is this from? This is from BC, Vancouver, Canada area. I'm actually out in Mission, British Columbia, Canada. Where are you at, Yash? And Burn It Down is saying, yes, they crack from humidity. The rocks you're talking about? Yeah, I'm talking a lot more than that, though. These guys, if you go into some of my videos there, Burn It Down, and ask me any questions, man, I will help you out. I just, you know, it was kind of neat. Somebody bought me a coffee in the restaurant thing there where I bought my coffee. And not because of this, just because we had bumped into each other before, I guess, and he felt like buying me a coffee, so he buys me a coffee. I ended up telling him about my channel. And I said, one thing I want to say is the way that I talk, I don't think others talk the same, and the subject line gets way out there, so be prepared for that. I said, you're standing in front of me right now. You can decide what I'm like right now, instead of having to see me on the video, because I would be battling. I'd be battling through whoever I'm listening to on the stuff, how much I want to, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, ground ice and colder. No, we're talking about way above ground stuff, though. Look at a couple of videos that I just did today, and like on that one where I'm talking about on the dike there, you see and you get to see the lower big riffraff down there. That's pretty close to the whole size of all the riffraff that was there in that in particular spot. All close. Maybe the smallest were half-meter size and stuff. And you look at it now. It's a ridiculous size that we would have actually built the Fraser River dike like that at such a precious spot of humanity and stuff. Like right there, what goes on, if that broke there on a busy day or something like that, we could have lots of people being affected by that. It's our boardwalk, it's our boat launch, it's a big part of our community right there, and that dike sucks. So real government officials come and look at that, they would say, this is wrong, we got to rebuild this, we don't know how this got past us. And that's rock breaking down into smaller and smaller bits and shining it. And like eventually, see this big rock right there, right? Eventually that one will start to have more and more. They might be starting to work a little bit, not too much. Any of those, not too much. But if you look at that see the sidewalk, right, the stairs right there, you see all the broken face on it, just on some treads? And then up above it looks a little bit different how they're breaking it. We've been studying that one, and it's legit. That's stuff that they're really doing. So back to here again. I hate this thing because every time it goes back, I lose my spot. Here we are. Okay, does he okay. Always keep coming to that one. Are you? Yes, I'm driving a different car. No, it's smaller. It's a Toyota Tercel. It's wicked though. I love the little 4-banger engine in it. Okay, hence more cracks at ground. So there we go. So you even sit at the ground, so you get what I'm saying there. Upstate New York. Cool. Why are you into Bigfoot tracking? Because I have a hearing disorder. I have severe tinnitus, which is a ringing thing in the ears, and I got it severely. I got severe hyperacusis, which is another hearing disorder that makes sound amplified. Hence, you know, when people are around and there's noise going on, I'm constantly, it's just with my head. And I actually believe that it gives me a different value in the field, so you understand that. And I've learned to work that value so it's helpful in my research, because I pick up on noises differently now than I used to, and yeah, different sounds and stuff differently and stuff. So it's been a kind of neat, you know, how sometimes when you're throwing, you know, say if you didn't want to learn how to run machinery, and all of a sudden your dad or your boss or whatever just made you do it. 2 months later, you're just so glad that they made you, and you're just, you know, even if you're not a master, you at least have a little bit more skill on it and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of that thing, you know, you get some kind of injury. So Bigfoot, yeah, you asked me that part of it. So Bigfoot then, I had my injury going on, I think, a couple of years. It was just driving me insane a lot. And there was just one of those days where I was on YouTube. I've been a YouTuber for many years. I had a channel going at the time. I had this channel going at the time, and I called it My Tinnitus Journal, and that was because of my tinnitus, and that's where my Tin Man comes from. And so, you know, I was doing it as a self-therapy for myself, actually saying things out loud, challenging myself for being a baby, challenging myself to try harder, challenging myself to put up with my tinnitus, you know, trying to figure out what other people are doing and saying what I'm doing. Kind of being like that, right? And anyways, so my tinnitus in this one in particular time was bothering me a lot. I had gotten, I'd gotten the second stage of injury to it. They did this one hearing test, and gave me a second stage injury to it. And I think that might have had to happen by then. Anyway, so there was this one in particular night. I'm on YouTube. I'm probably just watching Bigfoot stuff and jumping all over the place or whatever. And I kind of, you know, I've been one of those guys who has been raised in Christianity, and, you know, and I've done all my different kinds of connecting and praying and stuff like that. So I know what I do. And I kind of threw out one of my things there and kind of just saying whatever I'm saying there and stuff. You know, I don't get hard on it. I just say stuff and explain my frustration, kind of maybe even vocally out loud more than in my head or something, right? And then the next day I had an appointment at a specialist. So I had to go out of town, you know, a couple of communities over for the specialist appointment. I go over there, he asks me how I'm doing and stuff. I go, oh, I'm frustrated, you know, this thing, it's bugging me and all that kind of crap. And I'm driving home from that, and I get to this one spot. I had been in there 3 other times, I think, doing a little bit of a hike, just down the main trail of it. It's just it was just where a logging road had been thrown in, and there was a logging cleared patch in there. So this time I stopped in there again. Some guy was tailgating, man, just real frustrated. Remember that I didn't have my cell phone. That's another thing that makes me remember where my mind really was that in particular day, because that wasn't something that I was doing very often at that time. Anyway, so I whipped into the spot, decided to myself, yeah, I kind of had heard, you know, it makes sense to go along into the bush and follow this trail that I'm about to walk. So instead of walking this trail, I'm going to walk into the bush and walk along it. And sorry about that, hopefully it wasn't loud to you. Through doing that, I had an unbelievable experience that day. That day turned into the 21 days. On day 13, it was my first live interaction. Day 15th, I believe it was. I can't proclaim that it was 100% interaction, but when you watch the video and stuff, it was a lot of stuff going on, man, a lot. And I stood there again. This one, it's like, I stood there, I think maybe, I don't remember how long the video is. Like I said, I got a couple of thousand videos, but that one might be 10 minutes, might be even over 10 minutes of just hanging out with them. And they do a lot of moving action in there. Anyways, and then my next, in other words, my second 100% one was 19. I think that's the right number. 19 days into the 21 days of this. And that one is the big baboon-headed one that I referred to in the videos there and stuff. And to me, he's as plain as day. When I was doing my camera, you know, say there's that bush there or whatever. So I do this little talking thing for the first couple of minutes. I'm talking and stuff, and I'm doing like I'm doing now. I'm saying, okay, guys, what you do is you kind of look for a black area and stuff like that. And, you know, you just start looking. And then I start moving my camera like that, and I find a black area, and I go like that black area, but that's not one. And then I just say that blue thing there is the head, right? Or I guess you guys don't see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the dog. Anyway, so you move over like that, and as I'm doing that, I just come across his head with my camera, and I change it, and I go, oh, yeah, or whatever I say there, and I'm just realizing, holy cow. So that's the moment I'm realizing you guys will get to see that. And he's kind of behind two fern leaves from the same fern that are just splitting like this. So just like this, but they're big ferns, obviously. And that's the back of his head here. His two eyes, the darkness of his eye scope thing, and brows is between this piece, and then down here is the mouth, part of it. And the best recognition I give is a baboon kind of shape. And from the back of his head, because those two fern plants, mature fern plants, give me a value of size. I estimate the back of his head to the front of his snout. He's got a snout where the head comes down like that, and it's his big snout like that. These guys back here are totally knowing what I'm talking about, by the way. 2 feet from here to here approximately, maybe 20 inches. but 20 to 2 feet, I would say, is the size of that guy's head. Anyways, and he does movement. He tries to do a bow out of the picture at one time. I get him on 2 different cameras. I get him with movement where he ducks right down. I get this arm movement where he shifts or he turns his arm like this. It's like he's got, say, 2 black dots on this side, almost like a hyena. You know, I was noticing on a hyena, and just happened to be looking, you know, at this show, and this hyena was laying there, and he had a couple of dots on his leg. So I'm going, oh. But anyway, so 2 dots on his leg like that, and then like a dark color, and then the rest looks like it would be a kind of a gray color. And his arm, so he turns them into the picture or he turns them out of the picture. I can't remember, but just so that's remarkable, those kind of moves, because that is down here somewhere. How is he at all thinking that that gesture can mean something to me? So whatever he's able to flex and change at that moment that he thinks that I'm just not, my awareness is changed, is what they do. But, you know, catching it on camera is what I did. And so, yeah, that's wicked stuff. So back into here. Thanks for bringing back that memory. It kind of gives me a, you know, bit of a excitement. So yeah, that's a long answer, but that's why I'm in. And then the reason I really, you know, after those first 21 days, you know, a whole bunch of stuff happened, but I'm just jumping forward to about 6 weeks. So about a month and a half, I end up realizing they're at a campground, that they're trailing through the back of the campground and stuff. Like, I ended up figuring out and seeing that they were staging, that they were bringing people, they were moving into the area, that they were increasing in numbers, that they were building their environment. I was able to pick up on that. Now I can see that I was correct with that. And I said in earlier videos, guys, it looks like they're doing stuff to moving in. And I swear to you, as well as I can think and understand, that is what has happened. It wasn't already had happened. It was what happened. Anyway, so that in particular day that I was just around and I thought, I wonder if they're near our campground. So I whipped over the other side of the bridge here. During the day, I seen that they were there. So the next day, then I'm just whatever, and I'm sweating bullets, and it's like 8, 9 p.m. It's getting dark, or it was dark. I just had ants in my pants, and I said, I got to go back. So I think that was my first real, quite crucial night walk. I can't remember if it was but it was a deep one and whatever. And I did a lot that night. Anyways, in that night, my first little bit into it, I decided, well, I'm going to start this thing out near the campground. So where the campground there is the river. It's right here, and then they kind of got the roadway for the, you know, the forest guys or whatever, the cleanup boys and stuff that goes by there. So I'm over that, and then you have where it steps down to the river, and you have all those sand knockoffs and stuff. And I walk past those because I know these guys mimic, by this time, 6 weeks, I know they mimic a lot of different foot patterns, like all kinds of things. So I went down there because it's a really sandy area and it's quite neat. Go to check things out. I'm looking, I don't even remember this part of if I'm picking up on anything or seeing anything, but got my light on, I got a camera on, and I come walking back, and one of those little 4-inch slough things, which I believe most of them are actually created by these guys, especially along the Fraser and so many areas and stuff like that, because they digging away all the time. They're looking for more of this nutritions and stuff, so you can many times end up seeing these different markings and stuff like that, so you make your own analyze on that. But anyways, when I turned back, I seen that somebody was probably walking behind me. I start turning, they do some kind of a foot skid down that where their heel skidded, their toe did a hard press, just quickly pulled the water just lightly into the toes right there. I remember, if I'm correct, I think it was I figured it to be about a 9-inch foot. I kind of laughed about it and went, holy cow, man, they're right here, you know, and I kind of did this thing, right? The reason why I point out now that I laughed about it, I used to not point it out too much, but now I point it out because I ended up coming to a conclusion there. And you'll find out why in a second. So anyways, approximately 45 minutes later, I'm way up the river and past the train bridge. I'm doing some scouting. I come down close to the water right here. I'm looking at this bush here and stuff. I'm realizing, I'm talking about it again. I got the camera going. I'm saying, you know, guys, they're not, I might have been filming the whole time, I don't recall. But I don't see much of their imprint here or whatever. It seems like they're comfortable over there before anything going on here and stuff. And this area's all changed, by the way. This is, you know, what is that, 2 years? Yeah, we're right around 2 years later on that in particular thing, maybe just coming up to 2 years. Anyways, and one of the reasons I came there, that's right, is I wanted to also look at the cornfield there, because at my first 21-day spot, I've given them corn, and they had cleaned that corn like my dad used to want. He would have loved it as us as kids to have cleaned corn like that. My dad and the finickiest of eaters do not clean corn as well as those corns were cleaned. It was just, and it was from tip to end. They were peeled nicely. They were, you know, they weren't broken. Like there was some full ones still that, and you could tell whoever cleaned them right to the tip, you know, like this and such. Anyway, so I knew they liked corn. So when I did that front walk there, and I'm kind of picking up on the land, the reason why I'm saying that is because I think if they weren't hidden in there at this point, this is where they end up being hidden. So I cut back up to the top of the dike to look over on the cornfield there. That's on the farmer's side. And I'm walking back, and then all of a sudden I hear something. And this is a video that if you go onto my channel and you look at my, once again, those 100% ones there, it will be, sorry. It's dark in color. Here, let me just go like this. I shouldn't even be holding that silly thing so much. You guys want me to do a walk up there and see if we can get a change in atmosphere up there? You know what? I'm gonna quit where I am there. That video that I was just talking about has I'm gonna change directions here with the landscape. That video that I was just talking about, yeah, just a quick reference to it then. It is on my 100%. It's 2 minutes and 25 seconds or something. It's black in color, and it talks about the vocalization attack or something like that. So if we look right here, we can see that they've been recently coming and picking away at it. The reason why I think they partly go so slow is because they know that I look at it. Like I've shown them. I'll come right up to it and I pretend that I'm thinking that maybe a mouse is going in the hole or whatever. So, you know, there's times where I'm sitting here and I'm doing little squeaking noises, like pretending I'm making a mouse noise. I'm whispering because I don't know what language they understand. Anyways, so I've seen a whole bunch of changes in these, and a lot of my people do. And you see that where that one's only got the crack here? I don't think any of the other ones are visually showing a crack yet. That will be one of the things that they expand on. But I mostly just want to go up here and see if we can pick up anything in the darkness. I think I'm hearing a little squeaking or something. So those are all the leaves on the ground that you see there. Right there, that pedestal that, you know, it's for a plaque. You see the white there? That is the stuff. That's not chipped concrete. That's the sediment. That's the calcium deposit or whatever that they're able to pull out of concrete. So watch for that. If you start to be one of these people that are going to go looking for, there's more of it there and stuff, that's actually the white sediment coming out. And these guys are able to draw that out. And if I actually went close there, because you probably can't make it out on here, but if I actually went close, had the light, you would be able to see even the very small crack lines that I talk about. You see the one right at the bottom there, maybe? Well, actually, I can turn on my light. Enable flash. Cool. As long as I don't lose your guys' power now. So you see that one on the bottom there? Trying to stop here. You see how that's a crack line, guys? I believe you're probably seeing it well. And then, so there's like the sediment that's coming out. And I don't want to go around the other side of the thing, because then that's when I'll start to lose a good connection. Anyways, there's some cracking, and it almost looks like they might have, because I've also been talking about them making a mortar. And that almost looks like a mortar made up color, so I don't know if that's what they've done there. But I'm starting to detect on certain spots where they actually, like on the bridges and stuff, because engineers, many times, even the ones that come out and do the visual inspections, they could be dim-witted somehow towards a fake mortar that is filling cracks. Meanwhile, water's getting through there and breaking down the steel. So any of you steel workers and concrete workers and stuff, try to appreciate that. So the see right there, that's just then their scribing marks on the rock. So let's go in a little closer. See, that's them just starting to work a rock. You know, and as they keep going, they end up kind of making a valley. They don't, in the end, it doesn't, like that one there is a nice straight line. You see how they do a straight line? They really don't, you know, look at pavement, look at all edges. Like this is an example. Where is my hand there? So this, okay, I gotta back up. Forget about that example. So look at that big amount coming out there. Like, would that be a calcium? I've seen this where I believe it's just coming out of the rock. Here we got a mixture of concrete in here, but the calcium in the age of this concrete's probably, these stairs are close to somewhere around 100 years old, I believe, maybe even older. I would put them in a pretty close proximity, maybe. The calcium will leave the concrete, I think. Maybe, maybe not. This is something that I've been talking about here. Obviously, you know, I just said 100 years old, and look at how clean it is in there. You know why? Because it's getting cleaned out. You know how I know? Because this is actually being chipped and taken away. Hey, we do have a test rock that I've been watching. Well, look at that one. You know, I come up here and I tap them all the time like that. So these guys are totally aware that I'm watching for when ones come loose. But the one that I decided to watch, I think, is the one. It's one of these two. And they're both being worked. I think it might have been this one. So in another video recently, some of you are going to know. But that's happening. So you see what's going on here? Got to try to remember this well. This one here will be happening on top eventually. Here's more of that stuff going on in their crack lines. Let's see if they act like, They're right here. See, and there's, so let's stage it then. There's starting. And then you see all this rock, you know, see all this? This is all flaked at. Like they're earth recyclers or something. They do a breakdown and rebuild it up. Like it's not like they just, you could go to an area and you could end up figuring out that, holy cow, they killed all the trees in this area. But there's going to be a reason for it. It might not best suit us, but there is going to be a reason. Like you see all this stuff here, they actually have transplanted that from right here. Last year I was talking about all the seeds. I picked up some seeds. They're really weird seeds. I'd never seen that kind of a seed before. So you just kind of like right like that. And I seen about a bunch of them, and they were kind of laying around here and stuff. And now all of a sudden all these ones popped up in here. So they do many transplants of many different things. These blackberry bushes here, they're getting, I don't know, maybe close to 15 feet in some areas in thickness. You know, bizarre amounts. 15 feet in thickness. I kid you not. Like, and it isn't, I've admired blackberries. I've watched blackberries a lot. I've had a lot of input with blackberry different things, and they're also just way out of growth proportion. And it goes on to that same thing. You stimulate it a little bit, and it will want to energize itself and heal there. Now, if you happen to have some kind of a magic potion that works along with that, then I guess you're lucky to have a magic potion. But let's see if we, because I still have my flash on. So if I walk over here, I just want to see if we can get any kind of cool shines or something, eh? Gotta come in close enough to make sure I'm getting. So now I'm gonna come to a main suspect area. Or if there'd be anybody else, I'd be willing to think somebody would be willing to hide around here. So guys, I'm also trying to encourage you to go look at that video that I just did of for letting us know about this tonight. It's called, you know, I changed the title. And yeah, and just listen to the semi-truck. I've talked about it before. There's a corner that happens here where the semis have to come and turn there. And there's the most peculiar noise that travels around at different times because of that. And you get to hear the sound. And remember, it's a mimickers that I'm talking about. So you might hear something that you just think, oh no, that's the truck. But try hard, because they mimic to sound similar. So you might actually be getting sucked into it. I sit here time and time again, listening to them over here. You know, I believe there could be a hollowness here somehow. And sound, I'm not going that way, it's too crazy. Peace out from the Tin Man. I gotta go rest.